This is the Roman Catholic convent of the Poor Clares in Arundel. Here, 21 nuns live in prayer and contemplation. Their way of life has remained largely unchanged for hundreds of years, until now. One Bohemian atheist,
bollocks, piss off.
a disillusioned workaholic, a mother of 3 who is terrified of God,
Couldn't he do it in a less scary way?
and a soul-singing reformed alcoholic are moving in. All at crisis point, they are leaving behind everything they know and love to spend 40 days and 40 nights on a quest to find meaning in their lives. But not even the nuns could expect the road to salvation to be quite so rocky.
They were behaving a little bit like bolshy teenagers.
I think it is actually a form of abuse.
Yes, I won't work with it.
It's a bit like Catholic boot camp.
No matter how hard they fight against it,
I really do think it's going to help me a lot if I can just get over my fear of things, which I'm really working on.
this journey could ultimately change their lives forever.
God, what am I going to do when it comes time to go?
Previously on the convent, atheist Victoria is a free spirit, used to living her life without boundaries.
What I hope that I learn is trust. It's not a search for a change of who I am, it's more of a hope that I will become more at peace with who I am.
Married for 7 years to husband Adam, but there is another man in her life.
I don't believe you should ever lie to another person. I think that's what damages most relationships. But I do love somebody else, and Adam knows that, and is part of that family.
Businesswoman Angela has lived a life driven by money and achievement, but it's left her unfulfilled.
I've travelled a lot, I've had good jobs, I've got a nice house, and all the things that were important, which were to achieve a lot of things through work, to have a career, now don't seem quite so important.
Mother of 3 Debbie is terrified of God and has torn herself away from her family to confront her fears in the convent.
It's a very extreme thing to do, and I wouldn't do it unless I thought there was some chance of happiness.
Being abandoned as a child by her mother has had a devastating impact on her adult life.
And she said that everything was going to be okay because she would see me in 6 weeks' time. And then I thought, maybe she meant 6, when I'm 6 years old, and she didn't come. And then I thought maybe 6 weeks after 6, and she didn't come.
Soul singer and reformed alcoholic Iona is at a crossroads.
It's really easy to be self-obsessed and selfish, and I don't want to be that person. And I know that there's more.
She recently found God and believes he's demanding she be celibate.
You know, and also how on earth you do the no sex thing. I have no idea how you guys do that. That completely blows my mind.
The women have been in the convent for 10 days, and it's not been easy. A rigorous regime of 7 services a day, plus 3 hours of religious instruction.
I prayed 14 times in the last 48 hours, which is more than I've prayed in a church in my entire life.
Living under the rule of silence for hours at a time.
I think my problem might be boredom, so partway through I might struggle a lot more than some of the others.
And very early mornings. The nun's day begins at 5 a.m. But hard as it's been for the women, it's been equally bewildering for the nuns.
I said to Gabriel, isn't it marvellous? I said, all the different styles, something different every day. Oh, it's wonderful, she said, I'm that jealous. One day it's the jeans and the boots, and the next day it's the long swirling skirts and the scarf and the hair.
Ultimately, the nuns hope that allowing 4 women into their community offers a rare opportunity to explain their mission.
The 3 vows we take: poverty, chastity, and obedience, and turning away from what people in the world hold dear. Basically, it's to live a very simple life of prayer and contemplation and community.
I mean, that really is our life. And that's our main aim, is to somehow relate the values we find here to other people.
But as the women continue to struggle with timekeeping and obedience, the nuns begin to question their commitment. Straight-talking Sister Felicity takes matters in hand.
You've come into this setting and we are willing and eager to do everything to make it possible for you. But you must be willing and eager to make it possible for us.
There are 30 days still to go, and our women's battle to conform is only just beginning. Poor Clare nuns follow a set of rules laid down in the 13th century. With a vow of obedience, they surrender the most precious thing they have, their free will, to bring them closer to God.
Life in Assisi is still measured by the sounds of church bells, some ringing mightily.
One of the rules is silence at mealtimes while listening to devotional texts.
The town is something easy to overlook.
But God is the last thing on Iona's mind.
Flowers enliven the town on every side. They bloom in window boxes and in pots. They cascade from balconies and are hung in festoons.
I think Iona, from what I can gather in her she's a very free spirit, which is great, and nobody would want to squash that or suppress it. But I think perhaps as she's grown up, there haven't been a lot of parameters and she doesn't know where the boundaries are.
So you want to dance though?
You're going to be such a slimster by the time you leave here.
About time. Yeah.
Iona is confused about how discipline might bring her closer to God and just doesn't connect with a 700-year-old Poor Clare tradition.
I mean, I see it, I see you guys praying and you have such kind of... You just have a way that I can't... A way about you, and this like peace that I'm kind of going, I don't get that at all,
Try and enter into it. Really enter into that place deep within you where there's no noise.
Yeah.
Try. And when the music comes and when the jiggling comes and the legs start moving, just be really conscious and aware of it.
Yeah.
Be aware, even like being aware of that movement, all that going all the time. Be aware of it, right? Just slow it down. Just slow it down.
Today I managed to talk and discover a little bit more about this discipline issue. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it all, I think. I don't know quite what I'm going to do the next few weeks. I don't know how this discipline and patience is going to come.
One rule of St. Clare lays down that work is a gift of God and should be conducted faithfully and devotedly. Domestic chores are an extension of prayer and done peacefully and in silence. Usually.
I think you should take...
Angela and Victoria have been asked to clean behind the disabled buggies.
I think you've made it work.
Over the last 10 days, these two have become close friends, to the exclusion of others, breaking another Poor Clare rule.
That's maximum speed. Watch out!
Need a push. Sorry, I need
To make it a hat trick, they break another rule by going into each other's rooms.
You better fill it up. Like a married couple. Look at my slippers on, love. Can I have a pipe, love?
If people are not obedient to the call of the community, you're sort of eating away at the very basis of community life. obedience, solidarity, community, they're all integral of our life. You know, they're all part of it. And, well, it's all one, if you like.
But the biggest snub to the nuns is repeated lateness for chapel. Even though they've been pulled up on it, only Debbie has attended every service on time.
I think Felicity's found it difficult when they've been late for things, when they've been late for Mass, or not coming, and we don't know whether they're coming or not. That's quite disruptive, not just for her, but for the rest of the community. And those are the kind of things I suppose we need to address.
As head of the convent, it's up to the abbess, Sister Angela, to reinforce the rules.
What we'd like to encourage you to do is to keep the silence. You know, really keep the silence. And that for us is quite central to the way of life that we lead. And also being faithful to the routine. Try and be in time for things. And then also, I don't know what you've been doing upstairs in that little dormitory of yours up there, but we don't go into each other's rooms. Those rooms are private for each one of us. What we feel is that if you can try and be as open as possible to what we're doing, that you're going to really gain something. And it would be terrible if we failed in our sort of commitment to you by not saying something to you quite firmly, that if you don't take the opportunity, you're going to lose.
You're being absolutely fair, because we have had 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and now it's time we know the rules, we know what we're supposed to be doing. We've got to, you know, knuckle down and get this convent thing going. Sorry. Get this sister thing going.
In a sense, it's all for you in the end.
Yeah.
Because if you do this, you'll discover, I promise you, God, you better do something about this. Put it all on him, he loves it. I promise you, you'll get something from it. Whereas if you're trying to if you start by trying to sneak away bits for yourself, that destroys something really good. And the whole point is to be total.
You've been over lenient with us. We've been messing about for too long.
Oh, stop being such a good
I
girl.
I think I've been messing about too long, basically.
Yeah,
and
speak for yourself.
I need a bit of structure, and
I've been more structured than I've ever been.
The worst thing from my point of view is that obviously I've been spending a lot of time with Vic, and we have completely flouted the rule about going in each other's rooms. That's going to be difficult now, because I've got used to that. I've been doing that for about 10 days now.
Right, well, you have to stop.
I really didn't want to have to listen to being told what to do. And I also don't need to listen to everybody else suddenly going, oh yeah, we've been doing all these bad things. Oh yeah, you're being noisy. Oh yeah, you're keeping the kettle and that's what's making us come into your room. Oh yeah, I need been pulling into line. It's like, oh, bollocks, piss off. I'm not sure what more I can learn about myself. You know, I haven't really got any deeply buried stuff that I don't know about myself. All I'm learning about myself at the moment is that I'm an incredibly selfish person that puts my own journey before everybody else's. And that I have a foul temper when pushed too far, even by the nicest of people.
The honeymoon period's over now. We've had 2 weeks to settle in. And the first week we're all struggling with the early morning prayer, really. You know, none of us were sleeping properly and shell-shocked, and she was quite right to let us have that week to settle in. But then she gave us an extra week, which was more than gracious, really. And I was thinking, you know, if you were to join any other establishment like the police or the army or the navy, they don't say, well, we're going to give you 2 weeks to just settle in and get up when you like, you know.
It's 5 a.m. the following morning, and a chance for the women to prove they are willing to take this experience seriously. Prayer is the focus of Poor Clare life, and praying together is at the heart of the religious community. But Victoria is late. Again. Although Victoria is finding the regime hard, she's formed a bond with one of the nuns, her mentor, Sister Pat.
Presumably you were able to do things like pick any fruit and eat it, of course, in between.
Married and widowed before she became a nun, Sister Pat isn't shocked by Victoria's bohemian lifestyle, or the 2 men in her life.
It's very difficult to have to say, yes, I love somebody else other than this person that I've committed my entire life to and whom I love completely.
Yeah.
But I have to stay, you know, I have to stay true to my heart. So that's been a very difficult journey for Adam and I.
Love is not exclusive.
Yeah.
Loving Adam doesn't stop you loving Simon.
Yeah.
Not in the slightest.
I think for quite a while I felt like, does it mean I don't love Adam? And I think Adam felt like that too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's healed now. And there's an enormous amount of love between all 3 of us. I mean, there's an enormous amount of love between Adam and Simon as well.
You can see that in photos.
Yeah, yeah.
Victoria owns up to loving 2 people, but is reluctant to go into too much detail.
Victoria said that there is another person that she loves someone else as well as her husband. She didn't say what the relationship actually is. There is no judgment in me. I don't know whether that involves adultery or not. I doubt if it does. If her husband is so clearly involved in it, I would imagine that it's much more that kind of, yes, her husband is the one that she has given her commitment to, but there is someone else who she does have feelings of love for. Fine, our feelings aren't in our control.
Do I feel like I'm deceiving the nuns? No. I don't think anybody else is here explaining the ins and outs and intimate details of their relationship that they have with their partner, so why should I? You know, just because it's slightly different. It's not different to, you know, there's a lot of people out there. But this is the thing, it's private.
The whole of heaven is one tremendous love feast. Everybody loves, and love is the thing that keeps the whole thing going.
But you can only go there if you're baptised or christened. So I'm not going there anyway.
Aren't you baptised?
No, of course not. Brought up an atheist. Not likely to have been baptised.
Well, you might have been.
No.
Oh, well.
Well, you feel the cold, so you'd be best going somewhere else.
Yeah, I like
No,
a bit
no,
of
you won't.
fire.
No, it's not true.
No, I don't. I go into purgatory or somewhere, don't I? I go
No,
through nothing.
No, you will.
Midway.
You, if you have lived according to your conscience, you will go to heaven.
Oh, that's all right then. So is this where the thing about if you confess everything at the last minute, you can have lived a terrible life and done all manner of terrors to all manner of people and go to heaven? But if you have, you know, maybe slightly transgressed, but you don't confess at the end of it.
Jesus doesn't. He's not stinting on forgiveness if the person is genuine. That's one of the great things about him. He doesn't sort of hold it against you.
They're really lovely women.
And they live their life by a tenet that I think is wonderful. And they really do practice, you know, love and patience and tolerance. And it's making me have to be really respectful, which I am. And I've come in here with an open heart and an open mind, and I don't see any evidence of that the other way. It's like there's no space for us to question this at all. None. We have to go to the prayers, we have to do everything, we have to do it, da 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 da. And what they're saying is, if you do this, we promise you something will happen. Yeah? And admittedly, being here, things are happening for me.
Today is the feast day of St. Angela. The rigorous regime is put to one side. It's a holiday for all in the convent.
I got all these presents and cards.
I thought you looked like you were grinning a lot.
Yes, so I was very happy, so.
As the saints' namesakes, the two Angelas share in special privileges.
Enjoy them.
I will do.
Open up to take another journey away, just to take my heart and throw it away. Oh, I know, like a cool, clean river under my...
For the first time in 2 weeks, Iona can sing one of her own songs, which she is rehearsing for tonight's entertainment.
Other voices and other rules.
It's a strange place to be, I mean, for a 25-year-old. I think I'm getting frustrated at not being able to be myself and essentially being asked not to be myself all the time. I'm bored of going to Mass and all that kind of thing. I just want to sit there and talk to God and seek Him and worship Him and dance and, you know, I want to have room for my faith. It feels like it's kind of pre-war kind of vibe, and I don't know. I don't know how relevant that is to our guys our age, guys my age, you know, who are definitely looking for God, and God is always relevant, you know.
Waiting for the world to enclose, waiting for the love, and Lord, I call back out to you. Life has been free, Lord, since you broke the chains from my hands. My life has been on its knees again, like a cool, clean river under my feet.
I love the pattern on the skirt. It's so pretty. And it's like the bottom.
Yes, I've seen the bottom.
I like it.
Iona's flamboyance has not gone unnoticed, and without exactly letting her hair down, Sister Gabriel has devised her own party piece, and it's all about Iona.
Oh, you're all so gorgeous. I find it really hard to stand still because I just can't stop moving my hips all the time. And it's just so really wicked. And you can't imagine what it's like to be in the dinner 12:30 every single day. And it's just
completely unfair. Completely.
And the thing is, it's just so amazing to have all these plain brown nuns and I can just wear all my jewellery and look stunning and just glow. I'm just glowing.
It's so wicked. I love it. Oh, love it.
All the nuns and their guests share in the final celebrations. Sister Claire Rouver dances in praise and thanksgiving to God for the gift of life.
They just made me feel so loved and so special. Kept bringing me all these different
bits and pieces. You know, they've not got a lot of stuff, but they love giving things, and it makes you the same. I mean, I like every day I'm looking at what I've got that I can give away. I keep doing that because, you know, I've got a couple of those, so I can afford to give one of those away. It's like today for Angela's feast day. I thought, what am I going to give Angela, Sister Angela? And the only thing I'd actually got was, of course, the only luxury items I brought with me, really, apart from shampoo and stuff, were my 3 boxes of Jaffa cakes. So I gave her one of my boxes of Jaffa cakes because I've got nothing else that I could give her. And it probably seems, you know, pretty pathetic to her that I've given her a box of Jaffa cakes, but it's like an important part of my stash. You know, giving away 1/3 of my stash. I don't care.
At the end of week 2, news from the outside world intrudes on the enclosed order.
Something happened last night. Victoria got some really bad news. Really bad news.
Overnight, Victoria has heard that Simon, the 3rd person in her open marriage, has lost his father. Angela has stayed up all night comforting her. Victoria has to decide whether to leave for the funeral or stay in the convent.
Angela's pretty shattered, but she's got a good mass. I'm going to go outside, I think. I don't really know, I haven't worked out what to do yet, so... But I realise I'm absolutely terrified at the idea of going out there. Absolutely terrified. It's like I could handle the thought of going out there at the end of the 6 weeks, having sort of made myself so vulnerable. But the idea of going out there, like, in a couple of days, scares me witless.
Victoria's crisis has had an impact on all the community. For Debbie, it's a reminder of home and her small son, Jamie.
It just suddenly hit me in there really bad.
The Poor Clares have a fundamental belief that love heals. And Sister Felicity follows the rule that they should comfort their fellow sisters the way a mother comforts a child.
It's so hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I thought, you know, Mum leaving was the hardest thing that ever happened to me, but it isn't. Not now.
God is love. You've had enough punishment in your life for a dozen people. He wants you to learn that you must love. Punishment will never heal you, only love will heal you. Because we can't imagine a love that is so totally unconditional as God's love is. And we only exist because He loves us. And He certainly didn't make you to suffer. He made you to be happy.
I just don't know what to do.
Don't have to do anything, just be loved. You're a strong lady. Else you wouldn't be here.
I don't feel strong right now.
That's all right. St. Paul said, when I am weak, then I am strong.
I don't know what happened this morning. I just just don't know where it all came from. I was fine. I was perfectly fine this morning. Absolutely fine. And all of a sudden it hit me. From I don't know where. And I was really angry with myself about it. I was angry at my flipping lack of control. Because it was pathetic, it was thoughtless, it was selfish. It was undisciplined. And I'm, wrong side of 40 and I'm crying like a flipping 5-year-old.
Unlike the nuns, Victoria is free to leave the convent, but she can't decide whether to return home for the funeral. She seeks the advice of the abbess.
I feel very selfish being here. That's a problem. But I didn't expect to be worried about going out.
That is extraordinary, really. That really is extraordinary.
I feel too much like it's just beginning for me. That I'm worried if I go out into all that it will just disappear again. And I don't think I've ever felt quite so safe, really.
But the most important person in this particular situation, although it's obviously traumatic for Simon and the family, is you and where you are.
I keep thinking, well, what would I do if this was Adam's dad? And there wouldn't be any question about it. I would have gone today. And that's where I'm kind of having a bit of a dilemma now. What does that mean? Does that mean that I actually do have levels of commitment here, or that I think one is proper and another isn't? But there's no way that I would even be thinking about it. It would be just no question about it. I would be on the train and I would be straight home. So why am I still here? Because sometimes, I don't know, part of me is going, because sometimes you have to do the journey yourself, whatever your bonds are.
In spite of all the upheavals, the nuns remain convinced that the women will find some sort of spiritual enlightenment.
A relationship like that between two people.
Persevering, Sister Clare Agnes uses a meditation technique which involves visualizing scenes from the Bible.
Always there, so that we can put our hand in your hand.
She suggests the women imagine walking beside Jesus. The technique works better for some than others.
Anybody like to share anything?
I've got the imagination of a dead frog. I can't see anything. I really want to, that's what's really annoying.
Well, that's fine, you just hang on to that wanting. Hang on to that wanting, because he's keeping you waiting, so that you want all the more.
I hope he's patient. I hope he's patient.
He's always
I hate it when I can't do something. All the time I'm thinking, God, I've just had my dinner and my stomach's making lots of noises and somebody's going to hear it, and God, do I look fat in these trousers? Oh, gosh. You weren't crying, were you?
I could cry everything. I cry if I lie to me flipping tights. I just cry all over the place. I'm not going to talk about it, because if I do, I'm just going to be in floods of tears and we'll have another 2-day migraine and drug fest. And I'm just not going there, okay?
Doesn't sound good, doesn't it?
I'm going to just write it down and draw it, actually.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm going to do that.
But I'll just be in hysterics if I go anywhere near it at the moment, I'm afraid.
But what Debbie experienced during the meditation session has begun to prey on her mind.
It was very upsetting. It quite shook me, actually. Shook me quite a bit about stuff. And I didn't want to share it with people afterwards because I thought, I'm not going to cry. I've had enough of crying in front of people. I'm going to tell Claire Agnes because that's what they've told us to do. If you've got any queries, spiritual or otherwise, talk to your mentor. So that's what I'm going to do.
It's 8:30, Mass, the following morning.
So they came to the official's house, and Jesus noticed...
Before Debbie has a chance to speak to Claire Agnes, her spiritual journey takes an uncomfortable turn.
Why all this commotion and crying? The child is not dead, but asleep. And taking the child by the hand, he said to her, Talitha cum, which means, little girl, I tell you to get up.
The words from the text, "Little girl, I tell you to get up," are exactly the words Debbie believes Jesus spoke to her in last night's meditation.
I got such a scare in there, such a fright. And I thought, how does he know what I heard in my head? How has he done that? And then I saw it written down. And it really frightened me because I just thought, oh, there's billions and billions of words in here and thousands of pages, and I end up with the exact words and phrases that Jesus said to me last night.
But you know, that's okay.
I'm really scared.
But why are you scared?
I don't know. I'm just really scared.
Just try to sort of hear me. That's Jesus is really close to you. That's why, and he really wants to help you. But for you to hear it twice like that is not really anything to be frightened of. It's really Jesus saying, "I really do mean it." You know, try to take it
positive. He's watching me now, and I feel really scared.
Oh.
Couldn't he do it in a less scary way? You know. I mean, if he knows me, he must know it's frightened the life out of me, you know.
While Debbie comes to terms with her vision, Iona has a small breakthrough in a more relaxed fashion.
I was lying on the grass earlier, okay, and doing the silent thing. And dismissing every movement that I made, dismissing everything that I was thinking. Trying to learn how to live one day at a time. Trying to learn that right now there is nowhere else I have to be other than sitting in God's presence and learning about silence. I mean, I think this is starting to teach me a little bit about what I need to be doing with my time. I have to be wiser, and I have to stop playing at it and actually just live it properly.
Poor Clares do not normally visit each other's rooms, but hearing that Victoria is still finding it tough, Sister Pat waives a rule.
Yeah, but I've lost sight a bit in the last couple of days of where my journey is in this, and started feeling like it's a bit like Catholic boot camp. Which isn't really anything why I came in here. I don't think it's all coming from me. It feels partly that there's a bit of a sort of squashing. I came in here and what I heard and what I felt was, you know, we're here to support you unfold into who you are. Yeah. And then the longer I'm here, the less I feel who I am is able to be expressed or even appreciated or wanted or respected, actually.
What we've got here is we've each made life choices which kind of have cost us a lot, which have taken a lot of years for most of us already. And where, in a sense, I think there's a feeling of, can we give some of what we've received within the space of this 6 weeks? You've come with total openness. We're, in a sense, saying, well, yeah, you've come with openness, but to receive within our context.
Debbie has skipped 3 services since her shock at Mass and only reluctantly returns to chapel that evening.
Vespers, she wanted to sit next to Sister Angela because she feels that if Jesus was going to get at her, so to speak, Sister Angela would protect her. And she felt safe beside Sister Angela.
Sitting next to Sister Angela has also given Debbie the courage to sing in chapel for the first time.
Well, I hope that she will want to learn more about this Jesus who loves her. I hope that she will learn to trust him and to keep in touch with him through talking to him. I don't know, only God knows where he's going to lead her. I mean, once God starts leading people, you just don't know where he's going to go.
Why here? Why now? And I've never heard him before. You know, I've prayed and I've said, please God, you know, let me get that job. Please God, let me pay the gas bill. Please God this, please God that. And he never heard me before. And sometimes I prayed really hard, you know, and I never heard him. So I spoke to Claire Agnes about this. And I said, Claire, you know, I know I look like, you know, I lost the plot and go about like a kid. I said, but I'm a grown woman, you know, and I'm worried now. She said that it could be that he wanted me to hear it here with the people that can love me and help me understand it the most. And that makes sense, you know. I suppose that makes sense because they did help me understand it. They have helped me accept it. Yes, I've spent today accepting it.
Debbie's leaps in spiritual growth are leaving Angela worried that she's not even off the starting block.
I mean, I can't even meditate. Can't do it. You know?
So what? I can't meditate sometimes.
Yeah, it's something completely alien to me, to just lay there and empty my mind and then move on to some imaginary plane.
Right.
Now, I'm trying to do everything, but I'm doing it in the way that I'm used to, which is, you know, I'll read all the books, I'll know where we're going, what we're doing, I'll be able to sing the right words at the right time. But the meaning's passing me by. I'm doing it, but I'm not actually getting anywhere with it.
Where do you want to get?
Oh, God. I suppose I just want some sort of spark of spirituality of some type, I don't know.
Why?
Because I thought that might be what was missing, you know? I don't know. I'm going to find it ever so hard to go home.
it's only week 2 and I'm already thinking, God, what am I going to do when it comes time to go? So I really like being here. And eating all the food. And then you can think, well, all the other people are thinking, you know, it's only 4 weeks and then they'll be able to see the family and stuff like that. Whereas I'm thinking, God, only 4 weeks. I've only got 4 weeks of this experience left. And that's the problem. I'm trying to get as much out of it as I can. So I get mad with myself if I'm not getting as much out of it as I think I should do. If I think I'm not achieving things again. Oh, I haven't found God yet. I've been here 2 weeks. Or I'm not a better person and I've been here 2 weeks. Or I don't know what I'm going to do when I come out of here, and I should have got that done in the first 2 weeks. I've just got to be less demanding.
I don't know whether it's being less demanding or not, but I think that God doesn't turn the button on demand.
No, I think that's it. Most things in my life, if you want them, you can find a way to get them if you work hard enough or you go in the right direction. Whereas with this, you can't.
No, because it's a free gift.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just so different for me.
Yeah. So embrace the gift that's here for you now, whatever it is. Be open to that gift and enjoy the journey, Angela.
Today Victoria has to present her decision to Sister Angela, whether or not she will attend Simon's father's funeral.
Come in, Vic.
She has still not explained the full nature of her relationship with Simon.
Got a bit obsessed. Sit down. Is that all right for you there? Yeah, that's fine.
I've spoken to Simon and we've talked for a long time about how it would be if I went up for the funeral. And although he said at first, you know, yes, it would be good for you to be here after we spoke, he then said it sounded like it would be too disruptive for me to go up because it would mean taking quite a few days out. I mean, I said, you know, I could just stop this and go up, and both of them were quite adamant that that wasn't going to be happening, and I wasn't allowed to do that.
It's good of them, isn't it, really? Because I think actually it would have been very disruptive for you at this moment, because such a lot's happening for you.
Yeah. But what he has asked is if I can get leave for the next weekend. Now, I said I didn't think that was exactly protocol, but I would ask you.
Where would you meet?
Well, they said he would drive down here, Adam would drive down here and they'd get somewhere.
You mean book a room somewhere?
Yeah.
They'll come and pick you up, would they?
Yeah.
On a Saturday?
Yeah. They said they would
and
drive.
bring you back Sunday?
Yeah. So they just need to know the times, and I mean, I can tell them when they get here.
So Victoria's request for a weekend break gets Sister Angela's blessing. But it's a privilege not available to any Poor Clares sister. They would normally only be allowed home if a close family member had died or was seriously ill. Once they have taken their vows, they are here for life.
Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the words and I shall heal. The body of Christ.
The daily Mass, receiving the body and blood of Christ in communion, is the centre of the nun's life. For non-Catholics, a blessing by the priest is the closest they can come to this sacred moment.
Yeah, my God bless you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
But although Debbie has now embraced the idea of a loving God, she still can't bring herself to go up for a blessing with the others.
I have no self-worth.
Right.
I have no belief
that you're any good.
That I'm any good.
No.
and it affects my life in so many ways.
Well, it will do.
And it's the same with the blessing. You know, I mean, Iona was wanting me to go up this morning because it was this lovely mass, and I nearly did it. And then I thought, no, because I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy to go up there and be blessed.
You have to say to yourself, because I'm not worthy, I need the Lord's love. I need, for example, that blessing.
I haven't thought of that. I love it the way you come around things like that. I hadn't thought of that. I could probably do that, you know. I could go up there with absolutely no self-worth at all. That's right. And do it. I don't know if I have the courage, but I could certainly think about it in those terms.
Later that day, Debbie tries to explain her changing views about God to the others.
You really have to free your mind, totally. And let everything fall away and just be completely open to accept other possibilities, which I now do.
Right, wow.
You know?
What can you explain that to me a little bit more? Do you mind?
No. In what
Do you
way?
mind? You're saying that you've decided that God is different to what you thought he was. Can you explain that a little bit more?
All I know is that I accept there's a different view. Whereas before I couldn't accept that. You know, when I came in here, you know, nearly 3 weeks ago, it was, you know, I was constantly looking over my shoulder, you know, and I felt, unless I got the prayers right or something, and I was really quite, you know, finding it really difficult and quite fearful. And I'm still quite fearful, but the fact that I've accepted that it's different from what I first believed and from what I first thought is a huge thing for me, that I'm accepting there's an alternative.
Well, that's because that was your experience, which was real, Debbie. What it means is that there's an evolving, that you can say, my experience is such that God is not that, he is other than that.
It's 3 weeks since the woman arrived in the convent. Today Victoria is preparing for her weekend's compassionate leave. Any misgivings she may have are overtaken by the excitement of seeing her 2 men.
I can't be this excited because of why they're coming down. So I'm really struggling, so I think I shouldn't be like bouncing like a bunny.
It's like a prisoner, kind of, you know, finding a reason, you know, to get out. The breakout. And so we were all kind of looking over the fence going, "Ooh, is it nice out there?" I cannot wait right now.
And I went and put makeup on this morning, it's really funny, and I shaved my legs. And she then gave me a razor, shaved my legs. And it was really funny, because I don't care here at all. But suddenly I hadn't even noticed, and then I kind of looked and thought, oh my God, I look like a yeti. But it's weird, I don't notice. And I never thought that I shaved my legs for men. So that's a funny one.
Even though Victoria has resisted the discipline of Poor Clare life, she has begun to question some of her values.
It's a lot easier to be a really selfish person when you live with a selfless person. He would never demand anything of me other than I am true to myself, and he's incredibly patient. But I can see, in realising that about myself, I can see a certain amount of that patience being used to just wait and see whether one day I realise that there's more than one person in this life, and that's me. And that's a lesson to learn. Now I've got to apply it to my life, which means going to Adam and saying, you know, I've kind of, you know, fought for this way of life stuff. Are you happy? No, not just Adam. So I've got to do that, and I've got to do it really. And I've got to be willing to hear what I don't want to hear.
Adam and Simon are expected at any moment. There's already a reception committee in place.
Here comes the bride. You have to introduce me. I have to beat him.
I think somebody can.
They're all waiting outside to meet you.
Don't do that to Simon.
I wouldn't do that to Simon.
No, you break me. No.
Good.
Hello.
How's it going? I'm Simon.
Thank you very much for you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. What about you?
Cheeky my baby.
You'll be missed, I think, upstairs in the dormitory.
It's not clear whether the temptation beyond the convent walls will get the better of Victoria, and if she'll return.
Yeah. Simon, you'll have to get in the back. Gluten-free brownies.
I'm happy for her, you know, that she's got out. I really am. It's just so hard.
Well, if you want me, I'm in the craft room. Okay.
All right.
So you don't hesitate to come.
Next week on The Convent, some bonds grow stronger,
I wish I'd been your mum.
I wish you had as well.
I just hate upsetting you, and I feel like I upset you all the time.
while others break down.
Angela, are you there?
I'd be better packing in here now and going to Sri Lanka or something for 3 or 4 weeks and locking myself away in a little shed.
I have been going mad.
But it's the youngest guest who's finding it toughest of all.
I think Iona is hanging in by her eyebrows. I think she'd go tomorrow if we said, all right, we finished.
If you've been affected by any of the issues in tonight's programme and would like to talk to someone in confidence, please call the BBC Action Line on 08000 688 456. All calls are free and confidential. Lines are open every day from 7:30 a.m. until midnight.